Net neutrality, sometimes called network neutrality or internet neutrality, is important because it's a subject that's going to come up in every country as they think about how to use their wireless spectrum. Net neutrality is just simply this. Every packet, or every set of zeros and ones that travels across the electromagnetic wave, should be treated identically to every other packet. What this means is no packet will be given priority over any other packet. Nobody's packets are more important than anybody else's. Nobody will be charged more for sending a packet than anybody else. This principle that internet service providers and government should treat all of the data that goes across the internet or across the electromagnetic waves the same by not discriminating or not charging differentially by the user or the content or the site of the platform is what we call net neutrality. President Obama is strongly in favor of net neutrality. The government's regulators' position on net neutrality has caused the price of stocks that deal in the electromagnetic spectrum to go both up and down depending upon whether net neutrality seems to be favored or not favored at a particular point in time. The Federal Communications Commission in the United States favors having a regulation for network neutrality. The federal government has argued that net neutrality will bring certainty and predictability to the broadband economy. Net neutrality, as far as economists are concerned, is simply price fixing. In most situations in the United States, price fixing is illegal, but net neutrality would allow a particular form of price fixing on the internet, both wired and wireless internet, which economists think will make all of us worse off. The internet is not broken, and the FCC is taking steps to fix that. Net neutrality regulation for wireless will work in this way. For example, assume that you're going to fly from Chicago to Dallas, Texas. You live in Chicago, and you're going to vacation in Dallas. 3 months before you vacation, you look online and find an inexpensive flight and purchase a ticket. Now, a second person who also lives in Chicago is doing business in Dallas. They find out this Monday that something has gone wrong in the Dallas office and they need to fly by Tuesday to Dallas to address the problem. On such short notice, this person will have to take what's available. They don't have the luxury of casually looking for the best fare. Ticket prices are probably going to be much higher than yours because the second person is willing to pay any price to get to Dallas on Tuesday. Applying the concept of net neutrality to airline ticket prices, think of each seat as a packet. Each seat would be sold at the same price, regardless of the purchase date. So although you purchased a ticket in advance, there would be no financial advantage. Likewise, there would be no additional cost for someone looking to fly at the last minute. Everyone would pay an average cost. Who would be better off if we had net neutrality? The person who needs to go to Dallas on Tuesday morning would not be better off. The person would pay a lower fare, but they're not actually going to get a ticket to Dallas on Tuesday morning because those tickets have already been sold at a much lower average price. The business traveler is going to be willing to pay more, but that doesn't make any difference. There are no tickets available. On the other hand, you, the vacation traveler, will not be better off because you planned ahead. You're going to have to pay a now higher price no matter when you choose to go or when you purchase your ticket. Both people in our example have been made worse off by network neutrality from an economist's perspective. Economists like markets, where people who are willing to pay for the extra service of being in a particular location at a particular point in time can pay for it. And people who don't know exactly when they want to be there, and they may not know exactly where they want to be, can pay a lower price. That said, network neutrality is viewed differently by economists and people who make policy. In Washington, D.C., the real question with network neutrality is why use a market pricing system? That's what airlines do. If you actually flew from Chicago to Dallas, you'd probably find that everyone on a particular class in the airplane was probably charged a different price for their flight. One way to annoy your seatmates is to ask the person next to you what they paid for their ticket. It's probably the case that each of you paid a different price, one higher, one lower. Airlines used managed prices, but so do other companies. Likewise, if you see a Major League Baseball game in the United States, you'll see the game, no matter when you go to the game, it's all still baseball, but what will happen is you'll pay a different price on a weekday than you pay on a weekend. You'll pay a different price for a night game than for a day game. You'll pay a different price if the team that your home team is playing is a good team versus a not so good team. All of those are managed prices. In other words, prices that are set by the market. Many of you around the world are familiar with a company that uses managed prices. It's called Uber. Uber allows you to use your smartphone in order to get rides when you need one, right when you need it. Prices change depending upon the number of people that actually want to use Uber at any point in time and the number of Uber drivers that are available. They use what's called surge pricing. If there are a lot of people that want to use Uber's services, but there aren't very many drivers out, what will happen is the prices will increase. Now that means the people who really need to get somewhere can pay for it, and they'll actually get there. Other people who want an economy ride are probably going to be able to use some other service. But the surge price also acts as a signal to the would-be drivers out there. These potential drivers can easily see that the prices have gone up. It becomes much more lucrative for these drivers to be in their cars. It's a demand and supply equation. Surge pricing acts as a sort of synthetic market in order to get the number of drivers on the road that matches the number of users that need them. That's exactly the opposite of net neutrality. Net neutrality would be a situation in which Uber drivers were always paid exactly the same amount, no matter what hour of the day and no matter where anybody wanted to go. That's probably not going to work. In fact, the entire Uber system is based on market prices. So, how should we set up wireless spectrum? We would like to have some sort of market system which would allow packets to travel back and forth by charging prices for those packets.